our SBDC network, funded in part by the U.S. Small Business Administration and the California Office of the Small Business Advocate. This show is the go-to resource for business owners seeking empowerment, education, and resources to succeed. Join us as we connect you with experts, share the triumphs of fellow entrepreneurs, and reveal the wealth of assistance available to you today to level up your business. So let's go. Let's dive in and learn more. Well, we're going to try and learn an awful lot in 25 or 30 minutes here. We're going to learn a lot about AI. We're going to learn about people who are behind AI and teaching us how to do it. And we're learn about organizations that are helping support businesses grow. So if you're ready, we're going to jump into all of that and more with our guest, Manish Bhardia. Did I say that correct?
Yes, Paul, you're right.
Okay. All right. Well, let's start by talking about who you are, because it's fascinating. As full disclosure, I do some work for the SBDC as a consultant, mostly on podcasting, and I didn't remember you came in as a client trying to help develop a podcast to help tell your story, because you work with AI, artificial intelligence, and you help businesses figure out what to do with this stuff, right? And it's generally big business, healthcare businesses, manufacturing businesses, right?
Target is the mid-size, I would say, not the big
players.
Okay. Less than $1 billion, but with the help of AI, it's coming down to all the way to, solopreneurs or small business also.
So we're going to talk about the solopreneurs or solopreneurs, however we say that. Little mom and pop shops can use this sophisticated stuff.
Absolutely.
So your company is called, let's start with you first. Your company is called Think AI. What an appropriate thing. We're all thinking AI, artificial intelligence today. How did you start this company? Give us a quick hint of your background.
Yeah. So year 2000, I came to United States, started working as a consultant.
Okay. And you came from where?
India.
India. Okay. All right.
And when I was working as a consultant or a developer, my project manager used to say, you connect better with clients. So I thought I want to be more leading the projects. So became project lead or a project manager.
Not just giving them an idea, but actually implementing it or designing it or doing something.
Connecting with them on their business problems than just trying to code something, right? So understanding them and helping them solve the problem with the code we were doing. So I connected well, and then that changed to me actually starting a consulting firm in year 2012. And 2018 is when I partnered with another gentleman, Dave Goyal, who is my business partner now, and the Think AI was born in 2018. So the focus was all data and AI.
Okay.
And
what were you thinking? You were thinking that there's this new technology that's emerging, artificial intelligence, robots that can analyze and digest large chunks of data and not only process it, but make some sense out of this numbers. We're getting more data than we've ever thought of. It's a flood of data hitting companies here.
Yeah. I mean, when we were thinking about in 2018, AI was very complex, but we knew that the data will be simplified and AI will become more powerful and help. Now, come 2023, the chat GPT is on full-fledged.
Chat GPT, this came out of nowhere and everybody's talking about it. The SBDC is doing seminars on it. You say the word AI and everybody freezes and listens. AI. I'm not sure what it is. I'm not sure how I can use it, but I know it's big and I know it's got tremendous potential to it here.
Absolutely. And the good thing is it's in the hands of everyday users, and it's easier, just like chatting to your friend, right?
Right.
And that is the power of it, where it's in daily life. And the idea is, if it can help a person, it can help a company.
So I'm going to give you a couple silly ideas I've learned myself over the last couple of years, just to start the conversation, because I think this can't be for me. I run a radio station. It's a small operation. What could I possibly do? Hey, after this show, I'm going to sit and tediously take out the old editing software and try and get out if you say or or if you hesitate, or I do. I'm going to try and just tighten it up, clean it up a little better so it's a little more listenable, because it's going to last a long time, for years and years on all these podcast channels. So why not polish it a bit, make it a little more, people aren't focusing on how you say it, but on what you say. All right. That's a tedious process.
Yep.
I got to do it by hand. I open it up. I look at the little waves. I find the little spots. I edit. Take that one out. Take that one out.
Yes.
There's some programming more and more where this will do it for you. You train the little robot, and it will go through and find some of these things and pull it out. That's a huge time saver to me. I couldn't imagine it. Somebody else was in here with a restaurant, and they say, you know how long it is to schedule people if they're all part-time? Joe can only work this day, but Sue can work this. Trying to figure out the daily schedules. Maybe the robot, maybe the artificial intelligence can do that for you.
Yeah.
Simple tasks like that, repetitive tasks. Or the other one that I've seen over and over again, with a lot of PR firms come in. I don't know how they're going to stay in business. I used to have a PR firm a million years ago, and the part of the job was to write press releases. Now you go to ChatGPT and you say, give me a press release about Think AI. And it looks up all the data it can find, and it writes something. Then you say, well, I want something a little more technical. And so it writes it more. No, I want something a little more conversational. And it adjusts the style or something. Or people who are creating pages on websites or creating press releases or creating posts for social media. It's shocking what these robots can do for you. So there's some really simple stuff. I can't imagine. You're at a much higher level. What kinds of things do you see? What are your clients in healthcare looking for?
I'll take two simple examples, and what you elaborated is a good starting point.
Right.
No, because we want to keep it simple. You cannot complicate. So the example of scheduling, one of our client has 20 clinic hospital, and they need to schedule for each clinic the doctors, nurses, technicians.
Just the simple scheduling of all those people.
Yes,
right.
But a person has to spend 3 days a month scheduling everybody.
Wow.
And if somebody takes a holiday or he's sick or
they quit, and who knows how to do that?
Absolutely. So then they cannot leave the clinics open, so they need to hire people. This whole scheduling now is becoming much faster with AI, where it can not only schedule, but it can also see who is closer to which clinic. So make it easier for employees. So if we can keep it win-win-win, right? Like at the end, the patients have somebody to attend, or they are getting attended, and the clinician and nurses are traveling less to their clinics, and efficiency.
So more efficiency. Does it ever get into, though, and that's what we're going to talk about as this goes on, productivity? I'm not just saving time. I get that. Save time editing, save time scheduling, save time writing a press release and research and some of the stuff. I get that. I can see that already.
Yeah.
But what about analyzing? What about making sense of the data? And I'll give you a really serious example. A couple years ago, we used to do a show called The Cloud. We thought that was pretty cool and cutting edge. This is when everything was migrating to the cloud. You're not going to have servers. You're going to have servers in the cloud. You're not going to have in a closet anymore. You're going to pay your own IT people. It's all going to be outsourced IT here.
Yeah.
And which is the case now. So everything's up in the cloud. And we had somebody on who was the chief, something big. They call him chief technology officer or something for the city of Los Angeles. Big, huge city. And he said, you don't realize how much data we're collecting. He said, because as we've automated everything. He said, I'll give you a silly example. Parking meters.
Yep.
They don't have money in them anymore, so they have credit cards. So they're all hooked up to the internet. So every parking meter in the city of Los Angeles is online. And so we can take a credit card. And we started realizing, well, we're already collecting the data of the credit cards. Why don't we figure out how often it's used, when it's not used? And we created an app so people can go and reserve, rather than drive endlessly around the block looking for an open parking meter, you can go online, there's one, and you grab it, you reserve it, and you go get it. And he said, that's one silly example. He said, we're now monitoring fire hoses and fire hydrants. We're monitoring the waste that flows through the sewers, because we're trying to figure out how long the sewer is going to last and how much it's going to wear down, and when do we have to repair it. What other things could we? He said, we don't know. We've got tons of data coming to us, which we captured for one reason, but we never occurred to us for using. We put the parking meters online so we could use credit cards instead of cash, and nobody had to drive around and open them up and collect all the coins and take them to the bank and sort them and stuff here. That's silly. But in the process, we found a whole nother use for that data that we never even envisioned. So you've seen that where hospitals go online, they're scheduling, they're doing something with AI, and all of a sudden they say, we could be doing something else here too.
Yep. In terms of productivity, we are anticipating at least 30% productivity in terms of development. So coding used to be done by hand.
Yeah.
Now there is something called Copilot, where you can describe the program or you can ask the AI to program for you. It's a little complicated, but
because somebody told me years ago they've started to create chunks of programs, so you
Yes.
can go buy. I don't have to create a whole
yeah,
chunk of program just to manage the data. In the old days, from scratch, I had to do this over and over and over again.
Yes.
Maybe I used the same thing I did, but now you can go buy these chunks and just drop them in.
Yep.
And all of a sudden, the code starts to assemble.
Yep. Libraries, you can buy
Libraries, yeah.
ready to use libraries, and just like ready to eat,
Meals.
meals. It's ready, and then
So 30% faster in coding. All right, so that sounds impressive, but what does that mean? Does that mean we can get more sophisticated code that would just take too long to write? I'm thinking of the original computer programs when they wrote when we went to the moon when I was a kid.
yeah,
That little computer was probably less than in my smartphone today here.
sure.
And it took forever to write those programs to do every little part of that.
Yeah.
Now, if we could code faster and better, we could be more complex in our coding, perhaps. We could tackle things like quantum computing that we could never figure out before. These are just beyond human imagination, calculation.
Yeah, what happens is, see, whenever a program or a business says, I need to develop this software, there is a half of the time is spent on coding, and then half is spent on requirements or talking to business user on how you're going to use.
Right.
Think about it. More time saved in coding, meaning better experience, better output for the business. Meaning,
More time talking about it, less time sitting there trying to tinker with it and put it together here.
yes.
All right, so that's what you do for a living. And you go into these big companies, and one of your specialties is healthcare. Healthcare's got a lot of data. And they got to store it with the HIPAA Act and all these private health information protection acts and all these things here.
Yes.
More data than ever before. I wonder if the data, you don't have to agree with me or disagree, but I fear that the doctor isn't really looking at all the data. They're still looking at my tongue. They're still using their experience. They might go look something up on a journal or Google or something here. But they got a couple minutes to decide what's wrong with me. Do I need a pill? Do I need a procedure? Do I need a referral? And they're used to using these analytical people-to-people skills. But if they had more data about my blood draw and my, all the other data that they've collected about me and all my health records, and they were all united across all the different doctors and all the different places I've been, couldn't the GPT say, hey, Dr. Paul, you better watch for this. This might be this. You might look at this. You might ask him about this. Not that you want the robot to make the full diagnosis. I get it. They can make mistakes, and we still want a human. But couldn't they help take this burden off the doctor?
Absolutely. Actually, you have touched something which I can say that it has impacted me personally. My dad was in a medical condition, and multiple doctors were looking, and there was a lapse of data between doctors, and it impacted my dad's life, actually.
In the old days, you had to go take the records and walk them over to the doctor, the CAT scans or the X-rays and all this stuff.
Yeah, blood report, heart report,
yeah,
and X-rays, everything. But somebody has to piece it together and make sure that is applied to a person's health, right?
Yeah.
If you miss one, then you may be expert in cardiology, but you missed some other area, right? So
your dad had some problem, and they're missing the answer because they're missing either the connection or the data.
Yes, that's what happened.
Yikes.
But when I think about AI would say, hey, this person needs this kind of extra help in the lungs. So don't forget it, even though you are checking on.
Don't ignore this little signal over here that you might have missed in the one report or the other anecdote that they pass, and take all this data, crunch it down, and they make some diagnoses. Might not be the whole answer, but it certainly give you a better picture start with than the doctor who's trying to, in 5 minutes, listen to your heart, look at the charts, open your tongue,
Yeah.
talk to the patient. Yeah.
Yeah, think like you have 10 pages. What if you miss one page, which could be critical, right? And now AI can analyze much better way, and it can say, hey, all pages look good except for these two.
Yeah.
And
or this little marker. This is which you might just ignore and say, "Oh, that must be a mistake," or "I don't get it. I don't see it," and you overlook that, which is really the clue to this whole thing, to unraveling the mystery. All right, so that's what you do for a living.
Yep.
Now, the reason you're here is because you take on another role. You wear another hat as president of the, what is it, the Asian
Business Association of Orange County, ABAOC.
ABAOC, Asian Business Association of Orange County. Yes. I didn't even know there was an Asian Business Association. How long has that been around, and what is that organization all about?
So this organization is 32-year-old, and their mission is to make sure that the Asian businesses have a venue to get support in terms of resources available to them from government or the city and state. Like SBDC has a lot of resources to share with businesses.
And some of those are financial resources, grants or other sorts of programs and stuff. Yeah.
Certification, there are some small business certification, minority certification.
Right.
And then there are some education, free education, hand-holding to win contracts or prepare.
That's huge, because people, especially government contractors, you're entering a dark maze, a tunnel that you have no idea, do I turn left or right? And everybody tells me, if you've never done it, it's very confusing, and that's what turns people off. And yet, the government, we just had somebody on from the SBDC talking about this, the government has mandates. We must give this money to somebody, and we must give it to small businesses.
Small business, yes. There is a set aside for small businesses, but small businesses are so busy running their own business that they don't have enough time or enough knowledge to find government contracts. And that's where
associations like yours, or the
like
SBDC.
ABAOC comes into picture, and we have partners like SBA, SBDC, and other partners.
Forgive me for saying something. I hope this doesn't offend you, but you're not Chinese. I think of Asian as being Chinese or Japanese or Korean, but we think of it as South Asia, all South.
So India,
not just Southeast Asia like Vietnam and Thailand and stuff, but all of South Asia. I remember when I studied college, India and all those areas. That's South Asia.
Yes,
it's directly south of China, directly next to Burma, Thailand, all these other places stuff. But somehow most Americans, maybe this is just foolish old men like me, who take Indians and put them in a separate category, or Pakistanis or whatever.
It has happened like that. However, ABAOC is pretty open in the sense we want to help any of the Asian country people.
South Asia, Southeast Asia.
So they are not differentiating between Southeast, East Asia, or Asia kind of scenario. So that's why I'm engaged here.
Anything from the Asian continent, anywhere around there, all these companies supporting it.
Yes.
All right. So you joined the ABA, let me get it right, Asian Business Association, ABAOC.
Yeah.
A couple of years ago, and you're now the president in the second term of doing this?
Yes. So the reason I joined was I was not doing good on government contract, but they keep talking about you need to get certified. These are the ways to do. So I'm just like, let me volunteer for this organization. I'll be close to the events or the preaching, and then I'll follow those steps. And that's what happened is I did win a contract 2 years back, and then now got busy with AI, but we look forward to bringing our AI solution and hopefully get back.
What kinds of contracts are open to people? I always think government contracts. They want to hire Boeing to build a fighter jet. They want to build giant bridges. They want to build big stuff. That's not for me. But what I've learned is, and tell me if this is true, there are a lot of little contracts. Hey, the local city hall, the local federal agency need somebody to clean their building. They need somebody to landscape. They need somebody to help them create a handbook, or there's a lot of skills that the local offices of these federal agencies and state agencies and city agencies need help with. One. And if it is Boeing building the next fighter jet, they've got millions of suppliers under them and millions of parts. And the more they can employ a small business, a minority business, of women, or whatever the special categories that have been targeted, some of which are just small businesses, they help get the big contract for the big fighter jet because they've got a little list of subcontractors that help them qualify for this bid.
Yeah, there are some set aside, as we said, there are federal mandate and then state mandate. However, there are some projects you can directly win without having the prime vendors.
Right.
Meaning, you directly are engaging with the buyer, not as a subcontractor.
Me getting a contract with the federal government, that seems impossible.
Yes, it's a big task, but in terms of buying, federal governments, state and the big companies buy everything what you try to buy, right?
Yeah.
Like paper, they buy janitorial service, marketing services, technology services, staffing, HR services,
Right.
then printing board or the
I think I'm
paint.
missing the boat. Somebody came in here a while ago and said they won a contract, local business, and they're a video company, so they have a video production studio.
Yeah.
And they got hired by the United States Senate. They found a bid.
Yeah.
They were looking to redo their podcast video center, and they needed some help. And this is just a little mom and pop shop with a couple of people in a nice, kind of like what I got here. And I thought they won the bid and went to Washington and built out this cool, or helped improve this cool studio, add more mics and cameras and whatever else they did.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, I could have done that.
Yeah.
But it never would have occurred to me. I wouldn't know how to
Yes.
find that. I wouldn't know how to apply to it.
These are always hidden, and that is the reason the ABAOC brings events where you get to know what are the events or the venues to find contracts.
Mhm.
Now these contracts sometimes have requirement that you need to be small, recognized as a small business.
Yeah,
or
you have
woman
to
owned.
have gone through some certification
Some
to prove you
certification.
meet this, right?
Yes.
And that's
So
a whole
either you
other-
are a woman-owned small business, some minority
certain
certification.
categories they've set aside,
Yes,
right?
yes. Or
Veteran or
veterans,
whatever.
exactly.
Right.
And once you are done with that, you are eligible to apply. Now,
Right.
applying also needs some preparation on your side.
You can't just fill out a form and say I'm ready. There's a certain way of talking to the government, a certain process for applying for these things that may not be something you've ever done before.
Yeah, like the very first thing they ask is capability statement, nothing but a resume for the company.
Mhm.
And if you don't have it ready, then you are back in the line, right?
I don't
So-
have all that. When people hire me to produce a podcast, I don't show them that kind of
You don't show
information.
that, but that's
Right.
what we would encourage. And then at ABAOC, same thing. So we let you know the avenue where you're going to find contract, how to get certified, help you getting certified. And then comes, once you are ready, we can match you with the buyers, because all the cities and the public companies, public utility companies like SoCal Gas, Southern California,
Yeah.
Edison will
Or
list
these
out.
giant things like Orange County Transportation Authority that
Yes,
these
OCTA.
quasi-government, they're part government, they're part private, public-private partnerships, and lots of these things floating around that I don't think the public even is aware of. And they're all looking for some service, they're all looking for some product, they're all
Yeah.
looking for some help. And when they go bid, they got to bid it. And when they bid it, a certain amount of it is supposed to go to mom and pop guys like me and you and
Yes,
the rest
because
of us here.
because at the end of the day, small business run United States. It's
what we
it's
all
the
believe.
actual economy
Yeah.
of the U.S.
And small businesses turn into big businesses, yeah.
Absolutely, and the local help is always from a small business first,
Yeah.
and
Because that's easier to grow and to develop.
Yeah.
It's hard to start the next Tesla.
Yes.
Sorry, folks. It's hard to start major enterprises.
Yes.
It's easy to start something in your garage, which is why all Apple and HP and all these things started in a garage.
started in garage. Yes,
right.
exactly.
All right, so you're beyond the garage stage. Your company, Think AI, how many people have you got? How many give me some profile of how
Yeah.
big or what you're doing.
We are 50 people.
Okay.
Yeah. And profile meaning, we have a couple of senior leaders and high-end consultant, I would say, who are envisioning the software. And then we have our level one resources who are more like leads.
Mhm.
They engage with client and they are more talking, and half the time
Thinking,
they're
"Ah,
designing.
maybe we could do that. Is that your problem? Maybe we could fix that
Yes,
here
yes.
through AI, through data collection and analysis and these robotic programs and features that
Yes.
I'm not even sure who makes these robots and everything here. Are these robots, are you using third-party vendors like
Yes.
ChatGPT, or are you
Yes,
developing your own?
No, absolutely. We are using the big cloud companies like Microsoft has its own OpenAI version of OpenAI,
Hmm.
and then
What's Google just changed one or something?
Gemini. Yes, so Google
Gemini.
has their own version of Gemini.
Which used to be called something else up until
Bard. Initially, it was Bard. AWS has its own version. So we are,
Amazon Web Services. You throw these out so quickly. Like we all know AWS. Amazon. You ever heard of that one, folks? Yeah, they got a whole huge play in web development and cloud services.
yes, so we are using those as a base and then bringing the solutions to the mid-sized businesses.
And so that's what you're doing as a business. In your role as president of the ABA, Asian Business Association of Orange County, is part of that educating your members not only here's some opportunities and some contracts and some certification you need to go after other things here. Is it about teaching them new technologies and how to make them more productive and how to utilize cutting edge stuff? Because that's mind-blowing. Garden Grove was in here a while ago. City of Garden Grove Economic Development Agency partnered with the SBDC, maybe you guys too,
Yes.
and put on a whole day seminar for businesses in Garden Grove how to use AI. And when I came out, I said, why? And they said, because we want them to see the benefit of being in Garden Grove, and we want to grow our little businesses here. We're not just looking to bring somebody from the outside in. We want to develop these businesses, and part of that is make them more competitive, more successful, and part of that is we got to teach you some stuff you may have never thought of before. So we, as a city or as a county or as a government or as a nation, want to teach small businesses new skills so they can compete, they can thrive, they can think AI and grow.
Yes. At ABAOC also, we do have the initiative to educate our businesses or the members and non-members as well.
So they learn something by joining, not just meet people or see new opportunities.
Yes,
they
so
learn something.
networking is one area, but education is in various areas, whether it's accounting, how to open a business, how to be compliant with local regulations.
all the regulations.
And then skills like accounting or technical skills, and then
marketing,
networking and marketing.
Digital marketing.
Yes,
how do you build a website? How do you create a podcast? How do you do all these things? Yeah.
Yes, we do that. And we're going to do more of this because we do have a grant from City of Irvine, and that also is pretty much pushing towards all the resources and education to the businesses. So last year was a little low key on the technology, but this year we do want to push on the AI.
Well, you got a great president, folks, who's are deeply enmeshed in this and probably can teach us all a little bit about how to add some AI productivity, how to use the robots to maybe not just replace people, not just make it faster, but make it better.
Yes.
To use this flow of data to create something quicker, cheaper, yes, I get that, but also better. I think that's what gets lost in the robot revolution. We think it's just going to make everything faster and cheaper because the robot's going to do it. The robot's going to serve the hamburger. The robot's going to write the press release. The robot's going to do all these things. Yes, maybe, but there's also the chance to do it better. Like I was talking about the doctors. Maybe we analyze this better and give the doctor some tools, more insights, more direction, rather than them guessing every time. Let's see, I don't have time to read all this. Tell me how you feel.
Yeah.
It gets to the heart of the matter quicker here. It's an assistant, not just a replacement, not just a speedy tool here.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, I think this is all amazing. Have you got anything coming up? How do people find the? Let's start with the bigger organization. How do they find the ABAOC, the Asian Business Association? They may not even know there is such a thing.
Yes, many of them don't know, and we are trying to reach out to them through social media and newsletter and the emails. But on
podcasts
LinkedIn
like this, right?
And podcast, yes. So on LinkedIn, Facebook, or website, you just go ABAOC.org. Again,
Okay.
I'll say ABAOC.org.
Okay.
And that's our website address, but we are all in all social media platforms.
But to join that group, do I have to be a member of an Asian community? I can't
No,
be.
I mean,
I can't be an Irishman like me or something here.
everybody is welcome. The resources are more for Asian
That's the
businesses.
targeted audience, right?
Yes, but we have resource partners who are from all various different organizations, and we need that because there is a cross business going on back and forth.
Because that's what I do a show for the the Orange County Hispanic Chamber.
Yes.
And they're always saying, folks, you don't have to be Hispanic to join the chamber. I said, why would you? Well, because maybe you want to meet that community. Maybe you want to do business in that community. Maybe you want connections within the community. We're here to help serve that particular group of businesses who are Hispanic and to teach them and educate them and bring them together. All the things you're talking about, networking, education, advocacy, training, resources, all the things that all groups want to do for each other. The local chamber, the Irvine Chamber wants to do for businesses here. They find some community they want to serve and they do that. But maybe you want to have access to that community. Maybe I want to expand my connections. Maybe I want to find more Indian programmers or Vietnamese factories that I can build my product at or something.
Yeah.
Maybe I need, I join so that I can tap into your network and meet your network.
Absolutely.
Or sponsor it or join it. Fascinating. And then within, you do this is your passion and give back. It started off, you came and they helped you and you said, this is a good group. I'm going to get involved in this, help support this. And now you're the president of this thing, second year in a row.
Yeah.
He'll do it. I don't want to be the president. He can be the president. Is it like that? Is everybody like grown? Oh, I got a million all these people who join these organizations. I sometimes think they join for some purpose and they get sucked in and they're like, I don't want to be on the board. I don't want to do all this stuff here.
Yes,
That's
happens.
more extra work here. But you've taken this extra work on joyfully, gladfully. You're here doing this. If people wanted to meet you and talk about the work that you do with Think AI, how do they find that?
Yeah, so Think AI website is thinkaicorp.com. C-O-R-P.
Think AI Corp, like corporation. Okay.
Yes, corp.com.
All right. And anything you want to plug coming up for either your personal business? There's something going on, or I think more the ABA as a whole. Do they have a fair? Do they have a networking thing coming up? Is there something we should be aware of and come out and support or sniff around and see if it's for us?
So our first big event will be in the end of the March 27th, SBDD, which is Small Business Development Day. It's all about learning for small business and getting to know what certifications are out there.
Yeah.
So you are later prepared for doing business with the
big boys.
Big boys. So that I wanted to highlight. And
when is that? Give us the date again.
March 27th.
And where is that at?
It will be at Marriott in Anaheim.
And is there a cost? There must be a cost involved.
Yes. So non-members, I think cost is not fully decided yet, but non-members will pay a little bit more and members will pay a little bit less. That is the kind of scenario.
One more reason to be a member. You get into these things cheaper and everything, and you're made aware of all these things. All right, so there's a Small Business Development Day and awareness at Marriott in Anaheim coming up. Anything else that's coming up that you want to hype or talk about?
And then once you come there, you can always see more event information for ABAOC.org. And on personal side, definitely I'm very much focused right now on bringing a book on AI, and the book name is AI Productivity Leap.
Books. I have a robot to read the books now. I don't have time to read the books here. The robot will read the book and tell me what's in the book. No, I'm laughing because we still need old-fashioned books. The robots have to go read something too. We all have to read this stuff here.
Exactly. Right? And the idea on that is I did write another book on productivity much back, and that was on SharePoint and teamwork. And now I see the whole AI helping in much better way and adding 2x or 3x to your business growth.
We don't have time to fully explain that or explore that. I wish we did. That's a topic for another day, because I think of AI as a tool to cut costs. I don't have to pay somebody, the robot will do it, or to do it faster, so I don't have to pay as much for somebody to draft this or do this or whatever. I can do it faster. It seems to be a cost savings tool. I never think of productivity means make more, do better, increase productivity, get more out of your process and your machines.
Absolutely.
And that is a whole topic I don't hear a whole lot talked about. So maybe we can entice you to come back and talk about that someday on one of these shows.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. A lot to cover today. Manish Bhardia from Think AI, who also happens to be the president of the current president of the Asian Business Association of Orange County, a group like all these organizations, like local chambers and bigger groups like the Orange County Hispanic Chamber or the overall SBDC. Lots of groups out there. If you'll join them and support them and hang out with them, you're going to learn a heck of a lot about opportunities. You're going to network with others and meet other people in their community. And maybe, just maybe, you'll learn something and help grow your business and take it in a new direction here, which is what we're all looking for here. We don't want to be static. My late father used to say, life's a parade. You either stand by and watch the parade pass you by, or you get run over by the parade. Or, the parade either passes or crushes you, but you want to stay with the parade. You want to keep following the parade. You want to keep marching and win the parade. Too many of us, it's moving so quick, we either get lost or we get run over here.
That's an excellent quote. I like that.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us. One more time, how do they reach the ABA Orange County? It's ABA. Yes. Give it to me again.
ABAOC.org.
Okay, and you can see about events coming up in March and other places, and maybe you want to come out and check one out. Maybe you want to join the group or support it or become part of it here. But another group out there doing some great work that I don't think enough people take advantage of or know enough about. Thank you for shedding some light on it here today.
Thanks. Thank you, Paul.
As we conclude another episode of the Profit Talks podcast, we hope we've empowered your entrepreneurial spirit. Reach out to us to connect with our experts, and let's take your business to the next level. Keep those dreams alive, keep pushing forward, and stay tuned for more. And if you liked what you heard in today's podcast and you want your business to reach new heights, just contact us at profittalkspodcast.org or call us at 1-800-616-7232. That's 1-800-616-7232. So until next time, keep thriving.